Morning. So about a week ago, I wanted to make a video that that's not the right word, look back on where I was in life. Because while this channel is mainly just for speedrunning content and whatever, I like also making videos that I want to make or I want to talk about, or I mean, you've seen some of the random bullshit that's on this channel. But this video or this channel is mainly for what I want to make. I want to make that known, because some people might see it as a speedrunning channel, some might see it as something else. I don't know if you would see it as something else. I don't think you would. But that's what this channel is about. And this video that I'm making now lets me reminiscing on some of the old times, not only during speedrunning, but my life essentially. I mean, most people don't know this. I've only told this to really closer family members of mine. But back in back in my middle school days, which was around 2011 to 2014, and even into a little bit into my high school days, I was not doing great at all mentally, physically. I mean, I'm still not good physically, but I look back and I'm like, I'm okay the way I am. But regardless, the mentally part, the issue about having issues mentally, that's what I want to get into first, because it was just I would be going to, it's essentially it was school every day. Get out of bed at 6:30 in the morning, whenever, go to school, come back home, and just do whatever the hell I want. I didn't give a shit about school at all. I didn't want to go to school. No one interacted with me. I had no friends in school. The only friends I had were kids around my neighborhood. So, God, I said that like a gangster. But no, seriously, the only friends I really had were, I had a group of friends, a group of 5 that I was friends with back, I think they probably started in 2010, maybe a little earlier than that. And those were really the only people that I hung out with. And then there was also another group of friends that I had in my neighborhood as well. But yeah, it was just those group of friends of mine. I didn't really have anyone to go to at school. I had teachers, but they didn't really help me out too much. I was in a freaking social skills class that literally did nothing for me. It was just, I don't know, it just felt pathetic. I felt there was a major disconnect. There was a major disconnect when it came to that stuff. But the one escape that I had, sorry, I just woke up, so I'm itching my eye a lot. Or I woke up 45 minutes ago, but regardless. But an escape that I had was playing baseball. And to be honest, I made a video about certain things that I did while playing baseball, but I felt like it was a little too sappy for me. And I don't think the audio quality would have been good either. So I wanted to post it, but at the same time I understood not posting it, so I never did. And it was about 12 minutes long or whatever. But regardless, but no, baseball was a huge escape for me, and I was able to come home, do a little bit of gaming, and then mostly it was my mom. She would take me out to play, or take me out to go to a rec league that I played in. And all those kids I got to hang out who were my age. And this is going to sound very weird. Again, I don't tell this to a lot of people, but This is going to sound very weird, but it's not anywhere how you think it would be. I interact and make friends I interact and make friends that are better when they are younger than me. Um, and I've come to accept that. Like, I'm the group of 5 friends that I had. I was the oldest one there by at least a couple years, maybe 2-3 years. Um, but it was just I think it had something to do with me wanting to enjoy myself as a kid for as long as possible. And I think autism could have played a role into that, but I'm not too sure. Um, but like when I was at school, I didn't really hang out with anyone. No one was near. No one really cared. I was just kind of by myself. I did meet one kid, but he was more or less we had the same issues with each other, which is why we connected so well. I mean, we liked certain topics, which is why we connected so well. But he was like the only kid who liked the topics that I had. But baseball was a big part of it, because in baseball you're just in a group of you're with a group of kids who are essentially just your age, who could have had many different topics of interests. So but I connected really well with few or most of them. It was like I never had any disconnection with anyone. Definitely did not have any hatred towards anyone, although I did want to punch someone at one point because of just being a dick. When I was back, I was probably like 10, 11 years old. I would have got my ass kicked. But regardless, no, I had so much fun playing baseball. Between 20 and I played between 2010 and 2014. I wasn't good. I wasn't good at anything really. But being out there, being a part of it, being with a bunch of kids that I enjoyed playing with, something about it really hit hard with me. So when I finished playing baseball in 2014, and I was going into my 2015 or 2014-2015 school year, yeah, it wasn't great. I say 2015 or 2014, it would have been 12 years old. I would essentially still be in middle school. I was probably going into 8th grade, I would say. In those last 3 years that I was in my public school, I went, it was 8th grade middle school, 9th grade, and 10th grade high school. Some of the worst years of my life. I was mentally drained. I don't think I don't know if it was counted as like depression at all. It could have been, but I don't think it was. But the thought of being like mentally exhausted, like I always lied to my parents saying I didn't have homework because I just wanted to go to my room, do whatever the shit I want, and just play games. That's literally all I did. It's tough talking about it because it definitely sucked, but it's crazy that I've actually had worse, which we'll get to that in a bit. There was one bright spot though, and it was optimism at first, but then I took it and ran away with it. I was getting moved, in 10th grade, I had the opportunity to speak with I got to speak with someone who worked at a private school, and this was for kids with mental health issues and what's the word? Credit deficiency. So basically, not having enough credits to graduate. I got moved to that school, and I had optimism because the school. I've always heard these things. I was like, oh, this school is so bad. It's just full of people not wanting to give a shit, fights everywhere, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I don't know if that's right for me. Like, I don't know if I should suffer through this school. But they made me say, like, dude, you're not doing well here. Why not take the opportunity? And you're like, I'm gonna take it. So I went to this new school, and I've always said this, one of the best decisions I've made in my life. I started, the teachers there, they knew how to click with the other students. And the other students, since we all kind of had those same issues, I was able to connect with them really well. Two people at the beginning of the year, I got to hit hard really well. We started playing games on our phones a bunch, but it was like super fun. It was super chill. We got to have conversations with each other, got to get our work done, and bam, we get to talk to each other. And we connected very well. And then one kid that I met, which I was surprised to meet, because this kid I've met recently, or not recently, but I've met them before. In fact, I had known them since I was 4 years old, and after that year, I never got to see them again up until, like, I would have to say, I was 4 years old. I didn't get to meet them until I was 12 years old again, and I only got to see them for about a month. And then he transferred out to go to this new school that I was not going to. So to see that there was a kid there who I knew at the age of 16, or it would have been, probably been, 16 at the time. I was 16 years old. I have known a kid there who I've known technically for 12 years. I mean, we immediately hit it off. And so, like, I was like, it's the first time in my life that I've had school friends. Like, legitimate school friends. So, the new school I went to, you saw a big increase in my grades. I was getting A's and B's instead of barely passing with C minuses and D minuses. Needless to say, that was the best change for me. And it also felt good. I felt really, really proud of myself for once in my life, and my mental health really increased at the time, which I was like, I was super proud of myself. I may not need a baseball, but having this change was huge for me. I never thought I'd see the day. I thought I was gonna fail miserably. So I get told in the month of March. I asked okay, because here's the thing, I had a lot of kids that had credit deficiency, but I came into that school having all 12 of my credits. I asked my teacher, or I guess it became like my para or social worker or whatever. But so I asked him, hey, what would I need to do next year to graduate? Because the weird thing was that I was going into a school that did trimesters instead of semesters. So, and I had all credits going into my junior year. And I asked my teacher, I'm like, so what would I need to do to get to graduate next year? Because because I was passing everything there was a good shot that I didn't have to do all of my senior year. I may only have to do one trimester of my senior year to get enough grades or get enough credits to graduate. But I asked him, like, yeah, so what do I need to do? And he says, yeah, let me look into that for you. I get the notice 3 hours later that in the middle of March that I had enough credits to graduate this year. And I was stunned. And it's like, I was legitimately stunned. I didn't have anything going for me in terms of, like, any preparation done. I didn't have driver's training done. I didn't that was the main thing, is that I didn't have driver's training done. My parents were not prepared to hear that information. When they were told this, it was essentially a 2-month rush to figure out how to get this done, how to get this done, how to get this done, how to get this done. But the issue with that was that, like, I could have not graduated. I could have stayed. And looking back at it now, That was another major mistake that I made. I should have stayed at Harvard to get more credits and whatnot. And the issue with that was I went into Harvard, or I went into graduation, and I graduated as a junior, which, I mean, it sounds crazy, but like, I mean, I was able to get it done. But the issue was is that I rushed it. I rushed it way too quickly. I should have just, my chance of getting out of there was too quick. And I went into a college that next year, and it was not it. It was so bad. And, when I went to that class, it was, I was immediately screwed from the minute I decided to sign up for that thing. Credit to the professor, because he saw me having these major struggles, and he came over to me privately, sat me down, and just said, "What happened?" And I essentially told him the blunt of it. I felt like I rushed things way too quickly. I shouldn't have come to this class. I blah blah blah, same mumbo jumbo. The professor was like, "Hey, I get it. I understand that position. I've seen many." I think he was a professor there for a while, so he understood where I came from. He was really kind to me, because he made it so like I think he made it so like I had a G in the class, which means it's essentially a fail, but it doesn't count toward anything. Like, it won't count against your record. So that was a super cool thing about that professor. But the thing is, like, nowadays, like, I don't plan on going back to college, at least nowhere near for the time being. I'm living my life comfortably. I can't say that word for some reason, but sorry. But yeah, no, the guy was so chill. So we get to 2020, and I'm kind of just figuring out what the hell I want to do. And that October 2019, I got my first job, and we'll get to why that was stupid. When we get to 2020, and COVID hits, and I'm like, well, shit, I'm not gonna be able to do much. So we get to 2020, and this is kind of where the story takes a bit of a turn, because this is when I decided, I want to do something. I don't know what I want to do. But one of the main fascinating things that I always enjoyed was speedrunning. And I was playing Mario Kart Advance Tour at the time. And I was just enjoying it just for fun. And my brain likes to think of a lot of curious things. It's like, what if this? What if that? What if this? And it's like that's what my brain is. I think, how can I make this more efficient? How can I do this? What if I want to do this instead of this? How can I make this better? My brain thinks on that on a constant cycle. Whether I'm driving, whether I'm working, whether I'm gaming, that's just how my brain works. And I'm perfectly content with that. In fact, I like it. I like it that way. I like to spur off those new ideas. That's what I like doing. But anyways, so I thought, like, what if I learned to speedrun this game? So in April of 2020, it was April 10th of 2020, I joined the Advanced Tour Speedrunning Discord server, and it was so lively there. I got to meet a lot of new people, because this is also the first Discord server I ever joined. Before then, I never used Discord. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I was just a noob. So I joined this server thinking, all right, well, we'll see how this goes for a few months or whatever, and we'll see what I want to do. But immediately I'm like, I want to do this, because so many people were so chill to talk to. Origami, Yoshi, Raichu, Cards, Matt, and so many other people who just joined in just for the heck of it. I mean, they were all super chill to talk to. And I'm like, and I thought about that, I'm like, is this really what I've been missing this entire time? Is this what it is? In July of that year, I decided to do my first speed run. And then I did it as like a one-off thing, seeing what would happen. I get a 106.40. It was not great at all. So, I mean, I did that, and I'm like, okay, I feel proud of myself. And I sat that down for a bit. I still got to keep talking to the guys, all super chill. And it was actually, and it was very perky in there. Like, there was always something going on at least one time a week, even like 3-4 times a week. Someone would go in there, and we would all have conversations and whatnot. It was super, super fun. And then September, I did another run, and I got, 6-minute PB. Great, perfect, keep it going. And I stopped there again. But the issue with this is that while it wasn't noticeable at the time, my mental state was taking another shot at it. There was a complete decline back down. But the weird thing was that I never really noticed it at all, and I wouldn't notice it for a while. In October, I got, or not in October, but that's this spring. It would have been 2019, I think. I got to meet up with another baseball friend of mine because he actually moved like 5 minutes down the road from my house. So I got to meet him again, and we got to do a bunch of other stuff. We got to go bowling, hang out with a bunch of other friends. We got to go swimming together. We had like a summer party essentially. We had like 10 of our closest friends join up, and we had a good big get together. Super fun. But anyways, so I get asked, hey, do you want to work at the job I'm working? And I'm like, well, I need to get a job at some point. So I was like, why not? It was my only avenue that I really had in terms of getting a job. I mean, he was there. Why not take it? This ended up being another really poor decision because the job I took was being a dishwasher and busser at a restaurant near mine, which happens to be one of the busiest restaurants within a 5-mile radius of my house. So I did that, and I was pathetic there. I was slow. I got no respect anywhere across the building. I really despised going there. It was so unbelievably poor. And we get to November where I really just like, well, I'm not gonna want to go outside and do anything, so might as well keep speedrunning. And that's what I did. I mean, if you were around for that time, you can even look at my history. I was popping off with PB after PB after PB after PB. This is what I thoroughly enjoyed. This is where I'm like, this is what I want to do. I was having so much fun. PB after PB after PB. It kept coming. And I was like, okay, maybe I can push this further and further and further. We'll see what happens. And I continued doing that up until, when did I have to stop? Excuse me. It probably would have been around that like March, April area. Because that's kind of when it hit springtime again. And, we get to go out and do things again. Or get out and do things. There's 2021 people still had, you get it. And we get to 2021, and this is where a lot of major conflicts came into play. So the friend of mine who gave me that job, I was still working there, sadly, and I was still feeling pathetic. And we had a physical conflict during the end of the shift, in which what happened was I shoved a bucket of water into his face. I know that sounds cheeky, but I don't want to get into the specifics. I'm going very broad here for certain reasons, but Me and him never ever really connected. I have not talked to him in a bit. I saw him once this year, only for like a quick hi, but that was it. I never really got to like have a sit down conversation with him, which I still want to do. I just don't know when I'll ever have that opportunity. Time will tell. But basically, at that point, friendship dissolved, and the issue there was that I felt like in that situation I was in the right. That and it was a major thing for me. That was a major point in this timeline of me. So fast forward in the month of May, was already planning on quitting my job, but again, my mental state went on a decline. At the end of one shift, the head chef at the restaurant I was working at, which was a total dick. He would always blame everything or on everyone else. And it's like, we're trying to do our fucking job, and it's a fucking busy night, so just shut the fuck up, you know? That's kind of the mood that I was in. And to be honest, this is one of those moments where, like, I think I was still, like, I definitely, don't get me wrong, I shouldn't have, quote-unquote, said it, but it was definitely something in the back of my mind, and I still believe it to this day. Because this guy was a gigantic asshole. He was just a head chef. He didn't really have any power as, like, any, like, he wasn't, like, no manager or whatnot. So he started talking shit to all the dishwasher and busser wow, I cannot talk. He starts talking shit to all the dishwasher and bussers. I told him, it's like shut the fuck up for once. He said I was fired, even though he had no power to doing that. But it didn't really matter at that time because I was already gonna quit at that time. So I left. I got out of there. I got my last check and I dipped. So I was out of a job. The next month was even worse because I mentioned that I had a group of friends that it was like 5 people, and I had known them since 2010. I caused another major physical conflict, which in turn disbanded all 5 of us. I don't know if any of them like grouped back up together or whatnot. But I knew right then and there it was never going to be the 5 of us again. And this is where we get to the issue. Because I said, well, I had friends of mine, but now they're like all gone. I had nobody. I had no money, no job, no friends, except for like people online. In that same month of June, I got to join up with the Super Rush Discord server for a bit. And the hype was there for a bit and it died down, but that's neither here or there. But this is where I'm going to get into some tough topics here. So in October of 2021, it was the first time where I knew I was depressed, and it hit very, very hard. It was one of those depressions where I never wanted to admit it. Like, I knew I was sad, but I never wanted to admit it. And it took it took me and my mom having a 45-minute conversation, and my mom knows everything. I mean, she really does. She told me that, like, you need to get help, and she helped me with that. I took a few weeks to just look at myself, see where I was at, and then it took a bit, but then in the end, I realized between then, or 2020 and then at the time, that I was always the one in the wrong, and my mental state has spiraled out of control. I had no semblance of myself. And yeah, shit went really bad. I realized a lot of the conflicts were caused by me, destroyed by me. I lost 9 friends in 2 months, which is not supposed to happen. I was deep down there. It was probably the worst. It was the worst feeling ever when I had like the realization, but it was a feeling that I needed to have to step forward. It's really hard thinking back then, because like it's an important part in my life, I feel, but at the same time it's not something I want to feel ever again. So we fast forward into 2022, and my mental state is getting better and better. It takes a while. It does take a while, but eventually I feel like I'm at a point where it's like, oh, I feel pretty good about myself now. I honestly, this is where it gets weird. I begged my dad to work for him for a year, because I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure that I was at least out doing something, but I didn't want to go out looking for a job or whatnot at that time. I just kind of felt like, let me do something that I feel comfortable with for about a year, and then when we get to the next year, that's when I'll start taking off on some new experiences. And this was an overall good choice. I got to be a dishwasher and a cart kid at my dad's restaurant and golf course. Very smart choice, because I knew how to dishwash, and being a cart kid was easy. Spray down carts, put them in the barn, done. Simple. And this is kind of where everything kind of stabilizes a bit. I'm still doing speed runs. I'm still enjoying the hell out of that. I've joined many Discord servers at the time, mostly generated around speed running. Super Rush died down for a little bit. I hopped back into that. Another thing that I got into, which is kind of a weird one, I got into watching MLW Wiffle Ball, if you've ever heard of them. They are a professional wiffle ball league on YouTube. They have over 400,000 subscribers, but they were based in Brighton, Michigan, which is only about 30 minutes away from where I reside. I wanted to go ahead and go to one of their games, and one of the players there, Alec Warda, I told him in a Twitch stream saying, "Hey, I want to come out to one of these games, and I'm thinking about going out to one of his games that he plays in." So the next day, I go over there, and I feel like I'm like the only fan there. But Alec Warder was so genuine, and he remembered me from his stream that night before. And there's a lot of people there, and the fact that he remembered me, and then he actually remembered my name as well. It was so fun to meet him and watch them play. I had a genuinely great time. I also got to get involved in a lot of other MLW community stuff. One of the other things that came out was like a sim league, where someone made a program that simulated what a wiffle ball game would look like, but just on a computer. So I got involved into that, and that was super duper fun. Being in a voice call with a bunch of people, and we're celebrating as the text pops up saying this happened and all that stuff. Really, it was a unique experience that you would only get if you were in this sort of realm of, if this piqued your interest, that's only it. That's it. It's like, if you piqued your interest and you saw this and like, that's super unique. But yeah, that was super, super fun to get into. uh, and then also another thing, in 2020 up until now, I've been involved in the podcast community, Tom Grossi. Um, a lot of people I've met there too. We got to have. I mean, this channel was at like. I remember watching this guy when he was at 30K subs. I joined his members only Discord, and there was like two channels at all, like 2 channels and 2 voice channels. That was it. But now it's been like it has exploded. Like at first, there's only maybe a few hundred members. I think they're at like over 2,000 now, and I've been there the entire way through, and it felt so good. We got to have so many gaming sessions there. We got to play so many things like Jackbox, Goose Goose Dog, Tower of Salem was another one. It was just so much fun, and it really made those nights like super. It was just super fun. Those nights are just those were generally some of the funnest nights I had. So, anyways, 2022 starts. We get through 2022. There wasn't really much that happened in 2022. The only thing that really happened to me was I fell into a bit of another depression cycle in the month of fall. But we realized the most likely cause of that was me going from being a cart kid to staying back inside. Because we were only a seasonal restaurant because of the golf course. It was more golf course than a restaurant. But we realized it was seasonal depression. So it's getting cloudy. I start feeling like shit again. I took some vitamin D. Felt better after a few weeks. I still take it to this day. If I ever realize it's gonna get cloudy and muggy out for a certain period of time, I would take some vitamin D. That way I don't go through that cycle again. So, regardless, that was really it. 2023, we get to this year. A lot of stuff has happened. So, in 2023, I get a job working at my local Kroger. I do online pickup ordering. So I am out on the floor grabbing items for people who want to drive by, pick up the order, and they go. We're one of the biggest Krogers in the state of Michigan, as far as I know. But that's essentially my job, and that's what I still do today. I've been there since middle of January. I still work there. I have a blast there. I encourage people, if they're ever saying like, hey, is this a good job for like my kid? I say, absolutely. You don't want to go into a fast food sort of thing. You don't want to get into the restaurant business. I'm sorry. It's just how it is. Don't go into the restaurant business. Please. Anyways, yeah, but I connect super well with a bunch of my coworkers there. Super genuine, super nice. They don't mind me asking a fuck ton of questions, because that's what I do when I get a new job. I ask questions. But no, it was super, super cool. I'm trying to live my life. Trying to live my life together. My goodness. In April, I learned, going back to the whole the Tom Grossi podcast thing. I learned that he's doing something called 30 and 30. He was going to go to 30 NFL stadiums in 30 days, raising money for St. Jude. And I got to go to Detroit June 2nd, 2023. I took a ride to my grandma's, who was close to Detroit. I took a ride to my grandma's the night before, and then I drove to Detroit the next day, 10 in the morning, because I went there at 10 in the morning, not knowing when he was going to actually be in Detroit. So I got to go to Detroit. I met one guy who was a massive Lions fan, but I also got to meet a bunch of other people in the community, which was super, super fun. I genuinely loved the experience. It was my first time going to Detroit alone, and I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have missed that for the world. I got to meet Tom. So fucking genuine. We got the security called up on us because they're like, what the fuck are you doing here? So we got security call. We had to move to the sidewalk, which I think was hilarious. I got to see, I even got to see, cars. Like, I can't remember if it was Formula or Indy. There was a major, race going on. They were doing a practice session, and we get to see cars flying at like over, like 150 miles per hour, flying down the streets of Detroit. Really, really cool and loud experience. It was super duper fun. Um, and then I got to have like a sit down appetizer dinner with a bunch of other community members. And then we also met down in a local restaurant, and we flooded the place. And just being in that experience, and then having the end of the day finish, I got to shake the man's hand himself and say, dude, genuinely great experiences. And in that event, or not that Detroit event, but the entire 30 and 30, we raised over $500,000 for St. Jude. And I was so happy. Even though I was a minuscule part of it, I was super proud of being a part of that. Such a fantastic experience. That was genuinely one of the highlights of this year. I even got to go to another MOW wiffle ball game, and that was super duper fun. I even got this signed game used wiffle ball. This was Pred's D-backs, and I got everyone signed, and then I also got Alec, it's gonna be backwards, and oh my god, the reflection. I got Alec Warda and Trey Flood, who is player of the game. I got them both to sign it, and this is a keepsake. I'm not letting this one go. But regardless, this is kind of where everything culminates now. Where am I at in life? I mean, you had those ups and downs, and now we get to 2023. I haven't felt down in forever, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I've been able to meet so many new people online, and the abundance of people that I've met online makes up for not really having friends in the world today. Like I only have a few friends that I still talk to, and none of them are. I haven't gotten in contact with anyone who I've previously had issues with. But that right now it's like I'm in a good place. I got a job. I'm sustaining myself. And I'm so grateful for everyone who I've talked to online, because they really kept me going. It's very hard to exemplify how much of it means to me to not feel like a bag of shit. Where I'm at now, it's like, I mean, I still like speedrunning. I'm not streaming much at all, mainly because I just enjoy recording it myself. But that's perfectly okay with me. As long as everyone else is happy, then I'm happy. Yeah, again, words cannot describe how genuinely grateful I am, because without there's so many things where it's like, without having friends online, being able to talk to so many of you, I don't know where I would be right now. And to be perfectly honest, I could be dead without this. I really could. No way in the world do I want to lose any of this, because it's just a genuine great experience. Thank you. I really mean thank you.